Hello and welcome back to Green Money Momentum, where we talk about market movements, making money, and money momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are here for yet another daily talk of stock. And today it is Wednesday, June 4th, and we could see that overall the markets were pretty green today. So a nice bullish push in the markets, a lot of the major stocks being in the green, as well as the major indexes as well. And when we look on the economic calendar, the markets did seem to shake off this bad news here, and that is that the ADP employment numbers, so when it comes to the private sector, those numbers did come in lower than expected. So there was a projection at 110,000, but we saw the number come in very low at just 37,000. But the markets did seem to shake that off, as well as this news here, and that is that the tariffs that Trump put on steel and aluminum, which were heightened most recently from 25% to 50%, did go into effect today. And this is pretty significant because with each set of tariffs before this, we have seen the tariffs get rolled back and they weren't as bad as expected. So previously, with each set of tariffs, Trump would come out with a big number, and then with each date coming up, that number would get slashed or would get paused. And so with each set of tariffs, there's been a lot of knee-jerk reactions in the markets, and the markets have bled a lot this year just from the tariffs. But this is the first time this year that we have actually seen the tariffs go into effect, as Trump said. So this was a very interesting turn of events, especially because the markets did not react with a sell-off, showing that we are seeing strength in the recent momentum that we have started to build up in the markets since the lows from Liberation Day. And so with that being said, we're going to be talking about three stocks that we are very bullish on this channel. We're going to start with a favorite on this channel. He's in the background, BBAI. We're then going to hop into two plays that are taking advantage of the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. That is why I'm wearing the Bitcoin tie today, because we're going to be talking about Robinhood stock, which made some big moves regarding crypto recently, as well as DJT, Trump Media and Technology Group, which has also made some significant moves around cryptocurrency recently. But we're going to start out with this stock that we've been covering a lot recently, and that is BBAI. And before I start, as always, I want to say, of course, this is not financial advice, and I always recommend doing your own due diligence before making any financial decisions. But with Big Bear, when we do look in the short term, very positive bullish movements today, because as we have been talking about, we have been on this rising level of support and resistance. And so we could see with Big Bear, it has been reaching higher highs, being rejected on that level of resistance, going to higher lows, and then riding right back up to those higher highs. And so in yesterday's video, we were talking about how Big Bear had bled through this line of support just a little bit. So we were at a critical spot for the Big Bear going into today. We could have seen, if there was more bleeding, we could have seen the trend break below where we have been at, signaling bearish movements. But instead, we did see a nice rally up in the Big Bear, up 9% today, currently at $4.15. And we were a bit higher earlier in the day, but we were rejected by that major level of resistance right around 430. So currently, Big Bear is fighting to break through 430 and then 450. Those are the most recent highest levels of resistance that we have seen in the Big Bear. And it is in my personal belief that Big Bear is really waiting to explode any day now, because with Big Bear, we do have a relatively small market cap at just 1.1 billion. But what is very significant here is Big Bear does have a high short interest. And so we have a percent of the float being shorted of 21%. And this is pretty significant because in one of our favorite plays that we were talking about a lot in May, QBTS, quantum computing, D-Wave quantum computing, they had a short interest that was also very high, around 20%, and they came out with some big news, some big catalysts, and we saw that play pop by more than 150%. And so with Big Bear, if Big Bear does come out with a big piece of news or any catalysts, you know, if they get another big government contract or something here in the short term, we could seriously see a lot of momentum in the Big Bear. And if we just look at what the potential could be to reach back just to to the 52-week high here, we could see that if Big Bear just were to reach back to the 52-week high, it would be about a 150% rise just to the 52-week high. And so it is in my belief that if Big Bear comes out with some really great news, that we could even blow past what would be this new resistance here in the future, $10. Now that is dreaming. You know, there's nothing coming out right now that is saying that Big Bear is going to come out with a big catalyst, but I'm just saying the way this chart is building and the movements that we have been seeing is great, because we are seeing the floor continue to rise on Big Bear without any major catalysts in the short term. So if any major catalysts do come out, we could see a serious pop within the stock. And so with that being said, of course, if you're going to invest into Big Bear, you have to use a brokerage to invest into the Big Bear. And stock that we have been talking about a lot that we like in this channel that has seen 100% returns from the lows around Liberation Day is Robinhood stock. So ticker symbol HOOD. And we are very bullish on this stock because of the bullish momentum and the bullish catalysts building in Robinhood. So first off, we could see that their earnings continue to rise quarter after quarter. This makes total sense because Robinhood is growing as a brokerage, and in my belief, it is the most popular app among young people. So I know a lot of people talk about SoFi and how that banking app has so much intrinsic value. I'm going to do a comparison this weekend on Robinhood and SoFi, because I do believe that SoFi is a good company, but compared to Robinhood, I don't think it competes, because Robinhood, in my belief, is way more popular. It is extremely popular among Wall Street bets and just all of internet culture. So as the years go on, Robinhood only going to continue to gain more customers, as shows up with their revenue through the quarters. So their revenue continuing to increase as their customers will. What's also significant about Robinhood is Robinhood may be added to the S&P index on June 6th. So this Friday. So it's one of the largest companies ranked by market cap that isn't currently a constitute of the S&P 500. And Robinhood does have a pretty big market cap at 63 billion. So if Robinhood were to be added to the S&P 500, that would be incredible, because then we would just see more money pouring into Robinhood from investors that may be not even thinking about investing into Robinhood, just because it is in that major index of the S&P 500. So a big possible catalyst for Robinhood there. And then yesterday, they did make a big deal with Bitstamp that will help with their cryptocurrency on their platform. Part of the reason why I am wearing this Bitcoin tie. So as of just Monday, they announced their $200 million acquisition of Bitstamp, which brings more than 50 global crypto licenses, a ready-made institutional client base, and new infrastructure for lending, staking, and crypto as a service. So pretty big here, because what this does for Robinhood is it does give them an advantage without having to start from scratch. So gaining a lot more customers, just like we were talking about, like they already have done. And so Robinhood, already a nice broker when it comes to, investing on the New York Stock Exchange. You could already invest into crypto, and now we're going to get more crypto with this Bitstamp acquisition. And so in my personal belief, Robinhood is a stock that has a lot of intrinsic value. So if you're going to invest into stocks or indexes, anything on the New York Stock Exchange, of course, you're going to need a brokerage to do that, and Robinhood in the perfect position. And also something to point out here is Robinhood does have a share buyback program. So over the years, Robinhood is looking to purchase back some of their shares from the public. So the opposite of what we talk about a lot with fears of dilution, Robinhood is the opposite, looking to actually take away some shares from retail. So get your Robinhood while it is cheap and before it rises to some crazy levels, because right now, just at $72 at an all-time high. But in my personal belief, Robinhood is very undervalued right now, even if on the charts we are seeing in the short term that we are a bit overvalued on the relative strength index and the MACD. With this play, I have a long-term vision, and I personally believe that Robinhood is going to be worth $100 in the future. I'm not giving a price target or a date when that will come. That's still a big rise from where we were at at currently $72. But I personally believe there is just so much intrinsic value and so much this company is doing. They are growing. They are at a net positive, and each and every single quarter they are gaining more customers, and each and every single quarter in general, more and more people are investing into the stock market. We are in an economy now where there is a lot of institutional money, like there has always been, a lot of 401ks, a lot of people in retirement plans, but now more than ever, people are taking things into their own hands and doing their own investments. And again, a lot of those individuals, a lot of investors, we are using Robinhood. So very bullish on Robinhood over the long term. And just like they are accepting and transitioning and preparing themselves for the mass adoption into cryptocurrency, so is this stock right here. So another favorite on this channel, DJT. All year and even into last year, we have been following the storyline with this company, Trump Media and Technology Group, and they have been doing a lot when it comes to cryptocurrency, and they are getting even closer to their Truth Social Bitcoin ETF launching. And so there was some big news recently that Trump Media and Technology Group is going to be investing 2.5 billion into Bitcoin. And this just aligns with what the president is doing at the White House, because as we know, earlier this year, we did have the crypto summit at the White House, and this was a major event. So they talked about how they were going to put Bitcoin into the strategic reserve at the White House, and now Trump Media and Technology Group doing that exact same thing. And so they are investing into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency. And something that is big, not only are they investing into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency, but we did see the California State Teachers Retirement System, the second largest pension fund in the United States, increased their holdings in QBTS. So another favorite we've been talking about on this channel, and Trump Media and Technology Group. So the second biggest pension fund is investing into Trump Media and Technology Group, meaning that there is going to be a lot of momentum coming into the stock into the near future. And this stock right here also does have a decent short interest at 9%, so close to the double digits. And we have seen a lot more volume in this stock in the past. And so if we do see a big volume surge, we could see a lot of those shorts get squeezed, signaling that we could have a bit of a short squeeze coming in sometime with DJT. And so when we return to the technicals, we are once again right at the main levels of support in DJT. So over the last year, we have seen a lot of bounces off this level where we are at currently right now, right around $21. And what's really positive is when we do look at the relative strength index, we are just at 42 there. And then when we look at the MACD, we could see we are lower there as well. So for this stock, there is opportunity if you are just investing into DJT, or you do want to add into your position while the price is low, because I don't believe that we are going to be at these levels right around 20 forever, especially with everything this company is doing when it comes to cryptocurrency. And so over the last few months, I know it has been a little bit frustrating for many of us DJT investors sitting through a lot of this sideways momentum. But I am telling you, the more that the United States government pushes us into the mass adoption into cryptocurrency, we will see more momentum in DJT. So I'm very bullish on all these three plays here, but I would be curious to hear what everyone else thinks. So please drop a comment in the section below if you're invested into Big Bear, DJT, or Robinhood stock. I would love to hear everyone's opinions. Also, please leave a like and please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. I thank you guys all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next daily talk of stock.